Welcome to Independent Homework 7 Hints. Begin by downloading the file from Learning Plan 7. The spreadsheet will have any available resources such as your book or page number listed at the top of the spreadsheet. In this assignment, you'll be looking at amortizing another financial instrument, a long-term bond investment. Bonds are issued at face value, which remains constant. After the original issue, the bond will move along its regular maturity schedule. However, it still can be bought or sold at any time. Interest rates are always changing. Since the face of the bond will stay the same, when we buy this instrument, we end up with either a discount or a premium determined on whether or not interest rates are higher or lower today than when the bond was originally issued. In this case, interest rates today are higher and we will be purchasing a bond at a discount. So let's take a look at our spreadsheet here. We've got some initial data available to us. The original face value of the bond was $1.5 million with a 10-year maturity. The stated interest rate on the bond is 9%. But interest rates today are 10%. So if I'm purchasing this bond today, my effective interest rate is current interest rates, which is 10%. So let's get started on this homework assignment together and get you going. And we'll take a look at this bond issue price. So basically what I want to do is calculate what a $1.5 million bond that is paying a 9% interest rate, what that is worth to me today if interest rates are really 10%. So we're going to use net present value, okay? So we have a formula available for us. So let's start out here and go to our formulas, insert function. In the financial area, let's scroll down until we find NPV. There it is. I'm going to go ahead and select that. Here my rate is the rate that, that matters to me, which is the effective interest rate. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. In value 1, it's looking for all the associated interest payments, which we just happen to have down here at the bottom. Here are the annual interest payments that I will be receiving as the new owner of the bond. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of those and say OK. Now I'm not quite done yet because there's also the final maturity payment. Okay, so I'm going to keep going with this formula, and now that I know the formula, I'm going to do plus the NPV, net present value, and a 10% interest rate, comma, and instead of taking the interest payments, I'm going to go ahead and take my final maturity payment. Close my parentheses and hit enter. So what that formula basically just told us is that since interest rates have risen and I, in a 10% interest rate environment, am buying an instrument that's paying me only 9% interest, I'm only going to be willing to pay $1.4 million for an original $1.5 million bond. Okay, so that's basically how to get started. And let's go just a little bit further. Let's fill in your year 0 premium and or discount, and in this case it's a discount. So I can simply take my 1.4 million minus the 1.5. So this is what I'm starting out as a discount that I need to amortize over the life of the bond as I'm holding it. Okay? And my carrying value of the bond in year 0 is simply going to start out at what I purchased it for. Just to give you a couple more hints on this first straight line amortization schedule, your cash paid, well, all you're doing here in this cell is calculating the interest paid on the $1.5 million bond, okay? So even though you bought it at a discount, this instrument is still going to be functioning as it was originally drawn out, which would be 9% of the 1.5 million. Okay, that's simply the formula you're putting into cash paid. Amortization, what you're doing here is you're doing a straight line amortization on the premium or discount. In this case, it was a discount. So you're simply taking this discount and amortizing it over the life of this bond. One hint here, although there are 12 years, this only is a 10-year bond. So don't pull your formulas all the way down. Pay attention to the 10-year mark. So in amortization, you're simply taking this original discount and doing a straight line amortization over 10 years. Interest expense is a little different than the mortgage example we gave you. In this case, your interest is going to be what's getting paid to you, as well as the piece of amortization that you're taking for the month. Since you bought this bond at a discount, as you're amortizing the discount, that's going to be reflected on your books as additional interest, getting you up to the effective interest rate of 10%. So your interest expense should simply be your cash paid plus amortization. Now your discount should take your prior month's discount and take into consideration your additional amortization for the month. So this amount should get smaller each month. Okay? And then your carrying value of your bond simply should be the face value of the bond, the 1.5 million, netted out by the remaining discount. So I think those are some very good hints for you on how to complete the straight line method of amortization. Okay? Let's move down and give you a couple hints here on your effective interest rate method. So basically what this schedule is it's just doing amortization differently using the effective interest rate method versus using the straight line method. Okay? So your cells in year 0 should be the same regardless of which method that you are using. Okay? The difference here is that when you're calculating the interest expense, instead of taking the original principal and interest as above in the straight line, you're taking the effective interest times the bond's carrying value. Or, in this case, it would be equals E11 times F40. Okay, and so this isn't going to work right now because I don't have anything in here. But that's this formula that you would do to get yourself started here with the interest expense. Cash paid is calculated the same as above in the straight line method. But your amortization is going to be different. It's going to be the difference between your interest expense and your cash paid column. The rest should be calculated the same as your straight line method. In both cases, the bond value will slowly go up. So your carrying bond value, it should slowly climb up. And at year 10, both, whether you are using the straight line method or the effective interest method, both in year 10 should have a bond carrying value of the 1.5 million, which is due to be paid out to you. Okay, so there's a hint. If you're not getting 1.5 million at the end of 10 years, then you've got something wrong in your formula. Okay, so that concludes the hints for independent homework 7. Please remember to submit 2 files, both the replicating exercise we covered in Learning Plan 7 as well as the independent homework, in a single submission for grading by the deadline indicated on your syllabus.